with Team T.N.B, and today we have the long-awaited video that I've been working on for a couple months here, at least getting everything set up. We recently moved, so that has been taking up majority of my time here. And first and foremost, I already did a review on the actual case itself on our channel already, but I must apologize for the darkness of the video. I was noticing a couple comments on the actual video itself that it was way too dark and I blurred it. No, I really didn't blur it. What had actually happened is my girlfriend's house does not have that much lighting, and when I went to actually review the footage after I'd already unboxed it and started to put stuff inside of it, I found out how dark it was. What I ended up doing is doing a glow effect to the video so that any light that was already inside of that entire house was at least attempting to pull through the mesh screen that we have here on the actual computer, so my apologies on that end. And hopefully this final review on this thing and how I ended up putting my own twist to my own DIY Cuboid G Green Edition case will show you exactly how things fit, how I ended up doing it, and certain problems I ran into during the design of this thing. So I hope this will succumb to do a little bit better than the previous one that I had done. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing apart, show you guys exactly how my setup fits. I'll do a parts list as well as to what I ended up putting in here. And I'm no computer expert, but if you have some questions on something on how I fit this thing or how I worked it, go ahead and please feel free to leave a comment or something on here so that I can try to assist you if it's down my alley. So let's get into this thing. So I'm going to end up taking off the side panels. I obviously did a little bit of work here to both sides of them. I don't know if you guys can see, I ended up doing my own design of my own logo down there off the side. Now that's obviously just for aesthetics look. I need to add another strip of green down below to actually catch the full effect. But that's kind of where we're at right now. I kind of wanted to just get this thing ready to go for you guys here so you can at least get a feel for it. So I'm going to take out the side panel. As I said before, plexiglass is okay. I noticed as I was etching it, I had no problem doing it. The structure was solid enough. But when I get to the other side, I'll explain exactly what issues I ran into. So, as you can see inside here, sorry it's a little bit bright here, but I just wanted to really highlight exactly how this thing is. So as you can see, I have my CPU cooler in here. The motherboard does lay flat right here. And this one only does have one compartment for a CD drive of some sort. And I know it's a little bit black down here, but this is obviously where your power supply is housed along with the wire. It is a very tight fit in here, and even with the cooler, it was pretty darn close to the top of that. I probably have, I'd say like a 2-inch gap in between the top of my fan to the very top of my radiator fans up here. And I'll go ahead and crack that thing open now. So here's that mesh material that I was telling you about. This is metal. This does have a screen to it, so it is some form of a filter to it. It does have a plastic underside. And basically, here's where the two fans are. I maxed this thing out with all Bit Phoenix fans. Haven't really noticed any issue with them. The RPMs to me seem a little slow in comparison to my original Shark fans that I had. But hey, I make do with what I can here. So that's the top. So I have two exhaust fans up top here. Then we're going to go ahead and get into the side here, and this is where I'm going to kind of elaborate into exactly what has happened during the design of this computer. So I'll bring back this. This is the original screen. Now this is just how it was minus my etching. Same thing goes for this side. It's another clear plexiglass, kind of more of a, I don't know, a dark shaded gray. And as you can see, what I ended up doing is I ended up cutting out some holes and some vents with some screening material to it, simply because this is my 4 GB Strix graphics card here. Now, I don't know if you can see the depth of my pinky. I literally can go to my almost just underneath my fingernail here, and that's the amount of gap room I have. And obviously, when this thing's running, I want this thing to be able to circulate some form of air in between it without it actually being less than 1/4 of an inch next to it. So, brings me to my next thing. When I went to go do this material to me right now still is solid. I'm pressing on that thing fairly hard. I'm hearing no cracking, no crinkling, nothing. But I will tell you, the moment I went to go cut a hole into this with a drill, it literally almost butterflied. It did the little crackle all the way through it, and I got lucky enough that the splinter of the actual plexiglass only went to the very base edge of this vent cover here. So I will tell you, if you do any form of modifications to this, Be very gentle with it. I was pretty gentle with it, and it still almost broke all the way through. Luckily, you're not going to see a lot of it because it's being covered up by the mesh material I have here. So other than that, it is possible to do it. Just take your time, be very careful, and use the right material. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'll bring this in close. You can see the white edges for where the screws to the vent cover actually went. It was actually starting to pop that as well. So it is very delicate when you put any type of torquing power to it, but I managed to do it softly enough to still hold the vent covers together. Now what I'm going to go ahead and have C-Squared do, he's going to go ahead and come on in here, and I'm going to show you, this is by far the most cramped side of this entire PC. And it's very tight, and it was a little bit hard to maneuver things in here to make sure that everything was solid. But obviously, see here, I didn't utilize any of this. This is solid state drives. I just ended up doing my one hard drive right here, and I think I have enough for one more underneath here. I'll probably add something to it later, but I tried to tidy up the wires as much as possible. That's another thing that I ran into quite a bit when putting fans in every portion of this is the wires would hang loose enough because you don't want to tie them too taut, but at the same time you don't want them just super slacked off. And I have had some issues where they've come close to hitting the inside of the fan, which obviously causes that really annoying kind of car in a bicycle tire sound. So that seems to be the main problem. The only other thing I could really think about a case this size is that unless you're really cramped for space, I don't really see the utilization of it. For me, I'm using this as a transport case. It's smaller than my main case I have right now by about half the size, so that really works well for me. But the overall fit to this thing was pretty tight, and it's going to be because it's a micro ATX case right here. The motherboard fit perfectly, but then when I started adding in a CPU cooler and the graphics card, all that stuff to the top just added that much less room and that much more for me to kind of weasel my hands in there like a snake a little bit. So other than that though, the computer I've got running in here is running perfectly fine. I've really had no issues with it. It's been one of my smoothest builds so far. But I'm just really hoping that when you guys look at this and you guys go to assume to purchase something like this from, say, Newegg or wherever, just be aware of how tight it's going to be, and it might take you a little bit longer just simply for the compactness of this actual case and how it sits. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and list what I have inside of here underneath in the description box, and on top of that I'm also going to add a little bit at the end showing you exactly what I put in. It was a little bit of guesstimating sometimes. I believe on my last review the exhaust fans were incorrect, but I will go ahead and retell you exactly what I purchased and how I put it in here. But other than that, the thing's been a pretty good beast, and I think the last couple things I'm going to end up doing is throwing some extra LEDs on the under tray, just to kind of highlight the sides. But yeah, so I'll just kind of go over some basic features as far as what I feel is great. I will say that the actual build is very sturdy, even with both sides gone. The whole front panel, the top panel seem very solid. I'm actually lifting it up. All it's doing is just kind of bending upward, but you don't hear anything other than my fingers slipping. So it's a very tight, solid build. I'm pulling on the corners. The rivets are holding very tight. Exhaust seems to be okay, other than obviously the side panel where my graphics card already had no room to breathe. So that's one of my main negative things about that is how close it makes your graphics card to the side of the screen, but with no ventilation. To me, this side should have been, I don't know, maybe vented or something, or maybe both sides vented. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, it eliminates you from etching, but your main concern is not always the aesthetics, but the way how your computer runs inside of it. Other than that, I really don't have much else to say about this thing. I think I got it for 65 or somewhere right around there. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head again. But man, I would say this is a steal for as good as a quality as this, and for me, never really, in my opinion, honestly, ever really hearing about DUI until I found this thing here, and I just thought the overall look was cool. The fit seems to be good. It seems to be very tight, snug. It's just going to take you a little bit of working to get your fingers in there and making sure that everything is clamping down right. But other than that, I give these guys, I'd say probably a 4 out of 5, 4.5. So we'll go ahead and do now is I'll go ahead and show you a list and a video of everything that I ended up putting in here. Like I said, you got any questions about it, maybe about the material or something like that, feel free to leave a comment. Other than that, we'll try to do some more of these as we go. Hopefully we'll get some more computers in here, be able to build some more stuff, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So that's it for now, and we'll catch you guys later. Alright, so the first thing that we got inside of this thing is an EVGA gold certified 650 watt power supply. Then what we ended up going to was with a G-Skill Sniper series, the 16 gigabyte in two 8 gig sticks, and that is DDR3. Then what we have inside is the Gigabyte GA Z97MX. Then we have the Asus GeForce GTX 970 Strix 4 gigabyte graphics card inside. Then following that, we also have the Seagate Barracuda 7200 RPM 3 terabyte hard drive. Now we have two 140 millimeter exhaust fans on the very top of the case. And then on top of that, we also have the Intel Core i7 4790K Devil's Canyon quad core 4 gigahertz. We also have on the actual back exhaust, we have a 120 millimeter BitPhoenix fan, and we also have one on the cooler as well. And the cooler is a CryoRig H7 tower cooler on top of with another BitPhoenix 120 millimeter fan in it as well. And other than that, we just have a couple LED strips added to it through a controller that we ended up buying off of Amazon, and obviously just your standard black, I think an LG disk drive.